Ashley, thank you very much. Before his assassination in 1968, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. stood on front lines of the civil justice movement, fighting for equality for Black Americans.
Says, I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character.
Well, today we celebrate his dream and his life and his legacy and reflect on the lessons we can still learn from this civil rights icon. Joining us right now is U.S. congressional candidate and Army veteran Wesley Hunt and co-author of Black Eye for America, Dr. Carol Swain. Dr. Swain, good morning to you. Let's start with you. When you were at Vanderbilt teaching the college kids, how would you describe what Martin Luther King meant to America?
Well, I can tell you that even then, I left in 2017, that Dr. King's message was being erased by some people on the political left. But I can tell you that for the people that understood Dr. King and who had read his letter in a Birmingham jail and heard the I Have a Dream speech or read that speech, it was powerful. And I think that if you look at this moment we're in today with race relations, if people would go back, read that letter from a Birmingham jail, read the I Have a Dream speech, you can see that Dr. King preached a message that is so applicable today, and he would be appalled by the racism that's coming from the political left and the reversal of all the gains of the civil rights movement. And because of him, we passed 3 major civil rights bills in the 1960s that I would argue ended systemic racism under the law and made it possible for people like me to come from poverty and have equal opportunity in America. And so Dr. King changed so many millions of lives, and he fought for white people as well as black people. He was inclusive.
And Wesley, Dr. Swain was talking about her family. In your family, you've got people who grew up on plantations and were slaves.
Yes, that's correct. And Martin Luther King had a dream that one day we'd be judged not by the color of our skin, but by the content of my character, and my family is a living product of that dream. My great-great-grandfather was a slave, and 3, my brother, my sister, and I are all West Point graduates, and we've had the opportunity to serve the greatest country in the world because of that dream. And for me, that dream continues. I have the opportunity to run for United States Congress, and I'm actually running as a Republican in a Republican seat in a white majority district, and we're the clear front runner here, and that's because here in Houston, the citizens here are judging me by the content of my character, not by the color of my skin. His dream is still alive today, and don't let the left tell you anywise. This is still the greatest country in the world. We are progressing quite well, and my family is a product of that dream.
Amen.
Dr. Swain, Dr. King was famous for peaceful protests. What would he make of the way people protest today?
I mean, it's the opposite of everything that he stood for. And he talked about how the destinies of whites and blacks were tied together. And he also recognized that America was diverse, and it wasn't just about white people and black people. And when he started his discussions of economic justice after the passage of the civil rights bills, he was working for all poor people.
Right.
He wasn't saying just black people. He was always someone that believed in the American dream, the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, and the Bible. He used Christian principles that were integrated in his arguments, and that was why he was so effective.
Wesley, I'll give you the final word.
You know, his dream, Dr. Martin Luther King's dream, was meant for us to not be monolithic, to think freely, to have our own ideas, to have our own thoughts. Yes, you could be a black man that's a Democrat, a Republican, or whatever you want to be, but it's basically about freedom. It's basically about rising up as a people together, regardless of what we look like. And that is the American dream. That's Dr. Martin Luther King's dream, and I'm honored to be a part of it.
And we are honored to have both of you, Wesley Hunt and Dr. Carol Swain. Thank you very much for joining us on this Martin Luther King Jr. holiday.
God bless you. Thank you.
It is 8 o'clock in the